What? Wow, now I really want to call. Wow, I'm calling, I guess, but I don't like it. So what's the plan for today, guys? We are going to be playing some 10s, 25s, 50s, maybe some higher stakes. We're just going to fill it out. I'm still feeling a little bit run down after Barcelona. If you guys missed Barcelona, first of all, where were you? It was probably one of the greatest EPTs of all time. It was just fantastic, fantastic coverage, and I was pulling double shifts to try and bring that content to you. So generally speaking, pretty exhausted, but I'm very excited to be back and actually playing some cards with you guys. All right, Queen Jack suited, let's go. Pete McDonald says best pizza in Brighton is Fado Amano. Fado Amano is really good. It depends what you want. There's actually a place called Perfect Pizza. No, yeah, I think it's called Perfect Pizza. Let me take a look for you, buddy. I think we always bet here. We should have more ace-X than our opponents in these situations. Once we get to the turn, obviously we're just going to slow down. I think though, like he will have an ace here once in a while on the small blind, especially an unknown. King would be nice. Well, he shouldn't have ace-king, and he shouldn't have ace-10, so I guess we're going to go for all of it and get paid by, like, ace-7 of spades. That'd be cool. Don't you love when you just call the card in? We could get snapped off by diamonds, though, as well. He's probably more likely to have diamonds than he is to have an ace in this situation. All right. Nice. We saved ourselves some money. We actually saved ourselves some money there. That's cool. Almost made the mistake on the river. So I have a very basic labeling system whereby I either mark people as being yellow, where I think that they are confirmed regs, or they're doing lots of things that we expect them to do similarly to the way that we play, and then I mark them in blue when I see them doing things that are more unusual, and then I can actually make notes specifically about what that unusual thing was. Blue doesn't necessarily mean that I think they're doing things that are bad, it's just things that are unexpected that we need to be aware of. And then over time, sometimes the blue people become yellow people, they just have some unusual quirks that we need to take notes on. But for the most part, if they're yellow, we have them marked because they're doing lots of GTO things. And in that case, yes, we do kind of follow GTO as a baseline pre-flop. Post-flop, we try and take cues from post-flop, we try and take cues from GTO as well. But obviously, we adjust for the fact that players don't really play like computers as well. This is an easy limp jam with ace-jack. We're obviously really excited to get this all in if we can. So let's do it. If he 4x folds here, it's just awesome. Ace-8 call, even better. Let's go. I feel like that's probably a pretty significant mistake to 4x call with ace-8 there. The fact he puts 4x in, though, probably makes it a little bit better, generally speaking. Once you commit that much of your stack, you probably should be calling off, because I will limp jam with small pocket pairs and stuff. But for the most part, I don't think you need to raise that big. And then just generally speaking, I think ace-8 stacking off there, probably not great. Probably not the worst thing in the world either. It depends on pure intuition and history of hands. No, upgamers, so for the most part, our preflop strategy is based in GTO, so we've memorized, for the most part, more or less, like every single spot that comes up in a spin go. So that's always the baseline, but then we adjust the way that we play those hands based on our interpretation of the player and the way that they play. For the most part, I'm just trying to put them into categories of, this is a reg, this is an unknown. This is a player that I don't think is doing things that are very reg-ish, so to speak. Nice. The intuition, I guess, comes into putting people into those categories. Otherwise, we're trying to stick to a relatively standardized strategy. That strategy is balanced for the most part. There are some spots where I'm probably more unbalanced than not. But basically, whenever I enter into a game, I'm trying to think to myself, I don't know this player, I have no information on this player, therefore I'm going to start from GTO. As soon as I start to make some notes, we go, okay, now I feel like this guy's a little bit stronger, he's a little bit weaker, and then we can either stick more strictly to a GTO strategy, which allows us to be more or less exploitable by good opponents, and then we can become more exploitable against opponents that don't take advantage of us in certain situations, and we can do some things that are a little bit more goofy, and we can adjust our play post-flop and stuff like that. It wasn't just down to one big blind. He was all in after drawing dead to a chop on the turn with 5-4. Just craziness, isn't it, dude? Just crazy. Yeah, Amsterdam. There were a couple heads-up spots where I was thinking he probably didn't play as much heads-up. I'm still calling. I don't really. Does this guy really raise a jack on this flop on Jack 3-4? Like, unless he's got King Jack or like specifically, I just don't really know what he's supposed to be repping in this situation. So if he bets the turn, he can still have 5-6, for example. I think I'm still calling. Like I said, I think this can be a bluff a lot of the time. You could still have a hand like 5-6. You could have a hand like 6-7 suited. But I just don't know that many people that raise a jack on this flop, so we're going to call. Plus we have the diamond as backup. It's a good read. It's a good read. King 10, easy push here. We're way too shallow to avoid the push here. We don't even want to trap at the stack depth. We're too coming in too shallow here. Nice little domination situation. Yes, baby. All right, 50 bucks. So that was 50, and we won that from our we won that from a ticket. So that's just like a complete free 50 bucks in the account now, which is always nice. Total Game Boy is saying, is Zoom poker good for making money from online poker? I know people that have played Zoom very effectively. They've made a lot of money from that. I would say that Zoom is a bit of a tricky one because you do see a lot of action. You do get to give yourself a lot of opportunities to make big hands and stuff like that. The biggest issue with Zoom is that it's a game that promotes people to be tighter. And in any format, if you give people an incentive to be tighter, I think it's generally bad for the game. If you were to actually, table select more effectively, and what I mean by that is like, join tables where you believe that like, you're going to have a solid edge where you're not playing a bunch of other regs and stuff like that. I think you probably make more big blinds per 100 if you play the regular format. But I do think that Zoom Poker is a game that can be beaten depending on what stakes and depending on what game you're playing, of course, as well. But yeah, a lot of my friends did really well from Zoom. Bernsey says, hello, Nick. I'm glad you did commentary of the EPT Barcelona. What did you think about the trash talk from Jimmy on the Heads Up? I really like Jimmy's trash talk, and it seemed to be getting to Bendinelli, right? Do I think it's karma? I don't think it was really karma. I don't think Jimmy was getting out of line. I think he was kind of within the bounds of like what was probably reasonable trash talk. His trash talk seemed to be having an effect as well. I think it was kind of winding up Bendinelli, so I think it was working, and I don't think he was being like very rude. I don't think he was being disrespectful. We got one more game left in our Spin Go 10 here at the 25s. After this, I might take another run at the 25s, guys. Oh, hello, 125. Pair and a jack high flush draw feels good. Trips with a jack high flush draw feels even better. Feels way better. I think we still want some crying calls. If I go 1, he might even turn his hand into a bluff, so maybe we induce or something like that if we go like this. What you gonna do, boy? Almost got him. You could feel it. Almost got him. Pejota says, I enjoy the stream with you. Thank you. Hold. Hold for the 125. Let's go. 125 in the bag. Let's go. We are going to be shoving these threes if he raises. Come on, Jimmy Beam. What you going to do? What you going to do, Jimmy Beam? If he shoves here, we're probably supposed to call it ace-8, but again, it's a bit dependent on our opponent here. Buy a silent mouse. Don't be ridiculous, Blonde. Do not be ridiculous. Gaming setup. We have to have a gaming mouse. What an absurd question. What an absurd suggestion. No, I'm just kidding. That's not that crazy. I think we're still calling on the river here, guys. We're just going to have the best hand with the 8 a lot. The 9 might change things. He could have a hand like 6-7. If he's checking, we're definitely betting, though, because he would always bet a 9, right? If he has an 8, he's going to call us with Queen 8 of hearts. What? Wow, now I really want to call. Wow, I'm calling, I guess, but I don't like it. Yeah, 6-7, I guess. The reason I'm calling in this situation is because 6-7 obviously makes sense, but it's like I feel like a lot of players would just bet 6-7 on the river. Like, it's such a weird spot because I've checked the flop. Like, if you have 6-7 and your opponent checked the flop, you still want to try and get some calls from some smaller pairs and stuff like that, right? I think we still get us in. Such a weird one. Such a weird one. Is he going to let us back in the door here? Fair play, though. Fair play. Fair play, sir. He trapped us. Trapped us fair and square. And he rivered us as well. GG. All right, cool. Next game, please. Probably like one more game before we wrap up the session today, guys. All right, let's try and win this last one, guys. And then we'll wrap it for today. We have a few hands to look over for review, but I think they're all pre-flop stuff, so it'll be really quick. We'll just take a look at some charts. This is probably close to a call, guys. This guy does seem to be a reg of some variety. We could probably do this, actually. That's probably a better label. He's going to shove like 8-7, Jack 10, Queen Jack, all that stuff. So I think King 7 is fine. We'll take a look at this one for review as well, but I think that's probably the correct GTO call. Prefer not to get rivered. It's like every time we move up, you guys, we just run so bad with our all-ins. It's crazy. So let's make a note for the King 7 suited. I'm pretty sure that's always a call at 7.5 big blinds effective. Jack 3 is also the correct call too. Really? Really? Okay. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Let's take a look at our graph for the day, and then we'll take a look at some of our review hands as well. Let's take a look at the results, guys. So this is our year graph so far. Again, this is our EV. This is our Chips EV graph. I mentioned this earlier. The gentleman who was asking about Chips EV, this is what the split looks like. So the green line indicates the actual number of chips that we've won. Because Spin Go is a winner-take-all format, there's very rarely any ICM except for in like the biggest multipliers. Because it's a winner-take-all game, you can actually take the number of chips you've won and we can extrapolate that into an expected EV ROI. The way that we use that is we use this line here. The orange line is our EV adjusted chips. So you can see that we just haven't been very lucky in our all-ins. We've been losing a lot of situations where we should be winning, and also in the situations where we shouldn't be winning, we're also losing a lot more of those, which indicated by the gap between the two. So as it stands, just to give you an idea of how you can sort of use this number, we have 101,656 minus 67,837. So this is the discrepancy in chips. You can divide this by 500 to give you the approximate number of binds that you're under EV. So far this year, we've been running really poorly. We're about 67 binds under. This is actually improved. We were a lot lower, at another stage here. The gap was even bigger. So we're running a little bit better, but we're trying to just put in some more volume until these two numbers can kind of coalesce again. I'll show you some longer term results after this, after we do our day as well though, guys. So this is our graph today. So towards the end there, a couple pretty ugly spots at the 50s, so that actually cost us. But overall, we were winning something in the region of 77 chips per game. Again, running severely under EV at the highest stakes that we played. I don't know what was going on here, guys, but we were crushing it up, and we were just losing all of our big all-ins here, costing us a lot of chips. This has pretty much been our year so far. You know, every session, if you can be winning 77 chips a game, you're absolutely destroying spins. I think after everything was said and done today, because we mixed up our different stakes, we ended up down about 50 bucks or so. Not a big deal. It's only like one bind at the 50s, of course. But it's this gap that's been really, really tough because, you know, if you're not winning your all-ins, it can be difficult to win Spin and Goes. Again, we're not really concerned about the short-term results over the course of a day. We want to make sure we're focusing on our long-term results. So this is just this year. If I can give you guys a little bit more context and show you guys a little bit more, some more valid long-term results. If I filter this for, say, the last couple of years, you can kind of see how over time this sort of crazy rocky road flattens out very easily. So if I go after, let's say January, let's go from January 2019. Let's do that. Obviously, you can see a very strong progression. So we're winning 55 chips per game on average, which is well within profit. Depending on what stakes you're playing, that's obviously going to be, you know, something in the region of 5 to 10% EV ROI. Not 53, but what I'm saying is once you actually split it into the individual levels, like I said, the last time we filtered since 2019, I was winning 75 chips per game at the 15s. So a higher ROI at a lower stake. and then progressively lower ROI, but the stakes double every single time or thereabouts. So again, just looking at those long-term results, you can see that overall long-term, we're actually slightly above EV, so it's all kind of swings and roundabouts. We shouldn't get too bogged down in our run bad this year because, you know, it's all part of a much larger picture. Please give me a follow, guys. It means the world if you guys, you know, hit me up on social media and support me, because it kind of validates what I'm doing with you guys, and it, you know, gives me a little bit more clout so that I can justify myself being here making content for you guys, which is really important for my job. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys back here from midday onwards. Have a fantastic Thursday, and catch you guys on the flip side, all right? See you later.